country at the top of the world, or the bottom according to your point of view, there's a city that's built around a harbour. So instead of getting around in trains, buses, cars and the like, some of the people that live there have to travel in boats, which are called ferries. This is a story about the smallest of all the ferries, whose name is Fred. In the middle of a very dark, misty night at Wallaby Wharf, Fred suddenly woke up. There was a sound coming from somewhere in the harbour, but it was so dark that he couldn't see anything. Fred was quite scared, so he said to his big sister, Kate, are you asleep?" "Well, I was, Fred. What's wrong?" "There's a noise, and I can't think what it could be." "I'm sure it's nothing to worry about," said Kate. But the noise got louder and louder. Then they heard, "Sorry, did I wake you up?" It was just Fred's captain. "I just heard this terrible noise." And then they all heard a really terrible sound coming from across the harbour. Now Fred was really scared. "I'm sure that noise is nothing to worry about either," said Kate. "We'll go and see what it is. I might just stay here in case anybody needs me," said Pete. "Come on, don't be scared. Follow me," said Kate. So Kate turned on her lights and they headed out into the harbour. Fred kept very close to Kate. He just couldn't think what the noise could be. Soon they were at the lighthouse, and they asked Belinda Brushtail, the lighthouse keeper, if she knew what the sound was. She was wide awake, as possums much prefer to be awake at night. "No," she said, "it's a really scary sound, isn't it? It sounds like it's coming from the harbour stores." "We'll find out what it is," said Kate, hurrying along. "Actually, do we have to?" said Fred, who was getting more and more nervous. But Kate was already heading towards the stores, so Fred hurried to catch up. He didn't want to be left on his own. As they got closer, the noise got louder and louder. It was the worst sound they had ever heard. "Who's there?" called Kate in a very loud voice. The noise stopped, and then a voice said, "It's only me." It was Spike the echidna. "But what was that awful noise?" asked Kate. Spike turned on the lights and said, "I couldn't sleep, so I thought I'd practice on my new trumpet. Did I wake you up?" "It looks like you've woken everybody up," said Fred. And sure enough, when they looked around, all the rest of the ferries had come to see what the noise was. Spike felt very silly to have caused so much fuss, and he promised never to practice at night again. And he never did. "I think I prefer it when you play the guitar, Spike," said Fred. "And I think I prefer it when you play in the daytime," said Kate. They all laughed and went home for a quiet night's sleep, and the awful noise was never heard at night in the harbour again.